Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to call this meeting of the Finance Committee to order. And I'm running the meeting because there hasn't been a chair elected to the meeting. So can I take nominations of who's going to be chair for the Finance Committee?
Jim?
I nominate
Jane.
Jamie.
I'll
Okay.
second the motion.
All right, any discussion?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Okay.
That was unanimous. All right, Jamie, it's yours.
All right, thank you. I look so forward to this. I
I know you
appreciate
do.
your support. Can
What was that beer you were gonna send me?
Yeah. Jack's got his name in on
Oh, okay.
it. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes?
Yes,
Can I get a motion on the minutes?
move to approve.
A second.
I should probably abstain.
Yes. you were
Because I wasn't
That's
here.
fine. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, so 2 in favor, 1 abstained. The next we have is the business administrator comments. Matt, you could bring that up on your screen and talk us through that.
Yeah. Okay. You guys are not going to see it on your screen unless you click on the agenda. But the people in YouTube land are going to see it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
all right. Oops, I'm sorry. Those are the minutes. Okay, so the financial condition of the district. So as of the end of March 31st, 2021, the school district had $6,215,167 in cash balances for its operations. This balance does not include athletics or student activity funds. The cash balance is sufficient to operate the school district for 2.14 months, assuming a cash burn rate of about $2.9 million per month. We've received year-to-date revenue of $31,202,013, which represents 88.46% of overall budgeted revenues. During this month, we have adjusted the budget column to agree with the tax rate setting forms. In April, after the budget revenue form, we've invoiced Fremont School District in the amount of $1,017,225. Had it been included in our revenue, it would have totaled $32,219,238, or 91.35% of our budgeted revenues. Notable collections, however, in the March report are adequate aid for $978,635 and school building aid for $256,757. Now, this represents the entire amount that the state of New Hampshire owes the school district in its aid. General fund expenditures through the end of March are $21,584,250. Encumbrances are $9,497,024. So basically, expenditures plus encumbrances represents 92.55% of the overall budget. That leaves us with 7.45% of our appropriations remaining for the remainder of the year. I've simplified the breakdown this particular quarter. I was unable to produce some analytical reports out of the computer system because it is flaky. Okay, so and expenditures without health insurance totaled $18,790,963, while encumbrances were $9,497,024. This resulted in a 6.63% remaining of appropriations. Health insurance through the end of March, we've spent $2,793,287. We have encumbered through the end of the school year of $1,508,827. We have 12.46% of our health insurance remaining. Notable expenditures for this past month is just the $14,000 purchase of new microphones for our meetings. And I hope they've gone, or I think they've gone extremely well.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get down to some of the good and bad news that have been going on in the past couple months. The first one is Bakey just failed its water test, but we're still within our compliance. We're within compliance because New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services looks at the average test results over a school year, over a calendar year. However, we're gonna be spending just over $2,000 in repairs to the water system at Bakey. Hopefully, this will bring our test results back in line. In the meantime, I've authorized the building principal to purchase water. However, the water is, you can consume the water, it's okay.
Yep.
I do have some, I don't want to say more about that. Now, the second item is there was some roof damage that was identified by a Kingston resident at the seminary. Basically, if you were to look at the front of the building, it has like a peak to it, like a
Center
tower. So behind the tower is a set of flashing, so that when the water rolls down the roof, it would go up against the tower. That flashing, for whatever reason, got ripped off and was lodged in against some of the other windows that are further down in the building. We don't know when that happened. We got a text with a picture, and so it's going to cost about $19,000 to repair that. Yeah.
Is that just one estimate?
No, we got 3 estimates,
Okay,
and that is the lowest one.
and what would be the building's gonna be gutted.
I don't know if it's going to be entirely gutted.
What would be the problem with leaving it? Like you said, we don't know how long, did you see any damage as a result of it?
I haven't gone into the building,
Okay,
okay? But water does back up there, so I would highly anticipate water seeping in between the tower there and the roof line. So that would represent a distance from like me to you into the building.
well, what I would suggest is a conversation with the prospective buyer
That's what I was gonna think, yeah.
Yeah,
to ask them if that matters.
okay,
You know, if they're gonna gut the building, I don't see any reason to spend the money.
yeah, okay.
And if he's gonna be doing work in that area, maybe we just tarp it. And that'll be sufficient until he gets to whatever work he's doing.
Or
I don't know.
something, yeah.
But I'm still obligated to maintain the building at a certain level.
Yes,
Okay. All right, so the next one is the Bakey Boiler. We've received all the design plans, and we're gonna be asking any prospective bidder to submit a proposal within 2 weeks. We need to turn this thing around quickly.
okay, you were gonna let us look at the proposal or the design plans, right?
Yeah, the design plan's a 1-page item. I'll email it to you, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Let's see, Memorial School play.
One question more. How many bidders do you have on that now?
There are 4 commercial entities that I'm familiar with, okay? And so they're gonna ask all 4 of those. And there are some that I'm also familiar with that I wouldn't recommend. I think the 4 that I'm familiar with is Dowling, E&E, Granite State Plumbing, and who's the 4th one? He's also a vendor of ours. I can't remember.
And there's a contractor site that you advertise on. Are you gonna advertise on that as well?
No, I wasn't going to do that. I was hoping that we could send out an advertisement in a local paper.
Okay. Does it cost money to advertise on that contractor site? It's kind of a school collaborative thing, isn't it? You told me about it before, I forget.
The contractor site is more of, the contractors pay money to be part of that site.
Okay, it's like Dodge reports or something?
Yeah, it's like that,
Okay,
okay? I can reach out to them and see if they'll want it. But for me to do that, I have to give them up plans of the building, because they
Okay.
want to manage it.
But anybody who's gonna bid is gonna wanna see those plans, right?
I know, but they can get them directly from us.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's like, do you want the plans of the building in the public,
Oh, I see.
or do you want them manage the plans?
Okay, so the only way to go work through them is to provide them plans?
Yeah.
I see, okay. That's how they control who does it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather not post the plans to the site.
Well, but that's super cool. Why would you not? What?
Security.
Security, yeah,
Oh, because it's like the whole building is what's
Yes,
going up
that's
there,
right.
not just there. Okay.
yeah.
Question for you, going backwards on the seminary. Would that be covered under insurance in any way?
You know, I was thinking about that. It's possible, but my problem is I don't know what caused the damage. I don't know if it's damage that was caused by neglect or storm damage.
It's been really windy like the last 4 or 6 weeks, like just driving around town, the amount of trees I've seen
Yeah.
down is incredible.
I
And
can
not
reach
just
out to
from
them.
the
I can
people
just look out
cutting
the
it.
back window.
Yeah,
I can certainly reach out
there's
to them.
probably a wind deductible, is there?
There
But I
is.
doubt if it's the amount of money you're talking about.
Yeah, but the problem is, the last time I did it was for the roof over here at the gymnasium, and we had to document the wind speed over the building.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
How were you able to document it?
because NOAA keeps track of wind speed by location.
they knew the date that it happened.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, okay. Memorial School playground equipment. We've contacted our insurance company for them to review all of the playground equipment, and they're gonna be reviewing it on April 26th. So, the purpose of this is to go and look at, what pieces need to be repaired, which ones need to be replaced, and, the next one is a truck replacement. We're considering, our current needs for trucks, and, we're gonna be bringing our purchase request to the school board before the beginning of the summer. We currently have a truck that is way beyond end of life.
Is this a dump?
Yeah, this is a dump truck, but I don't want to replace it with a dump truck. I want to replace it with a utility bed, and so that a person can drive around the district with their tools and make the maintenance more mobile, but it would still be a plow truck. Okay. There's a new water leak at the high school. The greenhouse window, which is, it's right over there, it's over the library, okay? It has, it's been leaking, and then there are also 4 new leaks in the athletic wing. So we're gonna be having a local glass company go in there and replace the windows on the, that are leaking over at the,
Well, has the leak been inspected to determine it's the windows and not the ceiling around it?
it's the sealant around it.
Can't that be replaced? Why do you have to
Well,
replace the whole window?
Well, no, we're bringing in the glass company that has the expertise to replace that, whatever needs to be
Oh,
repaired.
not the window itself?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Let's see. So, there's also, we're communicating with the Newton Police Department about SRO at Memorial School. And one of the things that we're also looking into is a repeater that will work within the buildings. We got to make sure that the police radios work with inside the buildings. The next one is the dust collection system has failed again. And we're trying to rebuild the system with using used parts. And we're also trying to reach out to the manufacturer to try to, basically there's an electronic part to the dust collector that failed this time. And we're trying to get the manufacturer to rebuild it for us.
Is this over by the shop?
It is. And this is a piece of equipment that came to the building. It wasn't purchased with the building. So I think that the dust collector is way over 20 years old and we can't get parts to it. We have to keep fabricating parts. So it's probably time to kick it to the curb. Okay. The next one is
So we're going to attempt to for the manufacturer to fix this issue?
yes, right now, yes. So paving quotes have come in. I've linked an example for the committee to consider. They're recommending reclaiming the parking lot. So what reclaiming means is they actually dig up all the pavement and the subsurface underneath the pavement, and they rebuild it. So basically what's happening is that the subsurface underneath the pavement is not strong enough to support even a new overlay. So if we're gonna put in, if we were gonna pave the parking lots again, the parking lots would break up within a couple of years.
And this is at Memorial?
This is at both Memorial
Oh, that's
and
right, I saw 2 bids.
at Bakey.
So how extensive is this? I know it's pretty bad at Memorial. How bad is it at, how bad is it?
At Bakey, let's see, let me click on this is just one bid, okay? I don't want to say that this is the bid.
Right,
So they're saying Bakey School to reclaim it, it's gonna be
I saw
163,000.
the prices, but I'm just wondering what kind of square footage of the parking lot is suffering this issue?
I believe it's not the bus loop so much as it is the front of the building, okay? I believe. That was my initial understanding, but I haven't heard what the updated understanding is after we received these bids.
So they're not they're gonna reconstitute the entire parking area, not address necessarily an area where there's a problem? Or is the problem the whole area?
From looking at this, it looks like the problem is pretty much the whole area.
So this is Bakey?
Bakey is 163,000 and Memorial is 75,000.
Okay.
Okay,
That's shocking to me. I'll have to drive through Bakey.
Yeah, I was
because-
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So Memorial, they're saying is a third, less than a third
Right.
Yeah.
of the cost of Bakey, so
Yeah.
Right,
you gotta assume it's all square footage related.
yeah.
right.
But,
And-
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
don't you still need to even replace it even if it doesn't look? I mean, my friend's an engineer, I remember her telling me that with roads, they oftentimes will fix the roads that you don't, why are we fixing these ones? They look fine, but
Right.
it's more cost effective, so is it possible that we just can't tell? If we drive over it, it looks good, but we can't tell that underneath?
Questions to be asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're just saying that the subsurface is not strong enough to support the weight.
I know there's places where you can see,
Yes,
buckles.
yeah, especially at Bakey, you can see that.
Well, I'm not
So,
as familiar with Bakey as I am with Memorial.
yeah,
With Memorial, on that, I guess it would be the west side parking lot. Not where you drive in, not on West Main Street there, but the one that's on the side.
yes,
That one's pretty bumpy.
yes,
But this is something that we definitely should get.
yeah. Well, there's gonna be more information for
Yeah.
the facilities committee on this,
Okay,
okay?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the layout of, if it's 100% of it, if
Right.
it's not 100% of it,
Yeah.
it's being covered, and
Right.
then walk out and see it.
But I'm trying to make this committee aware of,
Yep,
this
I
is
got
a
it.
possibility.
$250,000.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
my initial plan is or my gut reaction is we're probably gonna end up doing, like, say, Memorial School this summer, and then, probably start phasing in Bakey School the following year. I haven't really figured out what to do,
okay.
okay? I know that I told the facilities committee about $65,000 was my guesstimate, based upon what we did here at the high school.
Was 65,000, so it's turned out to be a lot more than you expected.
Oh, yeah, this is way more than I expected.
Yeah, because of this additional issue that they're saying.
Yes, so
Yeah,
here.
we did not bring it down to gravel in the high school.
No, actually, they built it from just like it was some swamp area and a farmland. So they had to build up the parking area. So apparently it's built appropriately here. Over there, it was just, built up over
Right,
however old the building is.
yeah.
Okay? All right, so is there anything else? That's it in my report.
Well, that's quite enough.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then you have some line item requests.
Yes,
And so just so you're aware more that we have authority to approve line item requests in the finance subcommittee, but we
Okay.
must report that out to the full board at the next
Okay.
meeting.
And a request would be like, is this because you're moving it from one fund or one
One
line
line,
item to another?
correct, yes.
Okay.
And that authority is, you can only move it between special education funds
Mhm.
or non-special education funds, but you can't cross over. You can't like transfer money from special education and move it to regular day or coming back
Okay,
without the full school
still has to
board.
be like in its own
Yes.
umbrella.
Right, so it has to, otherwise you need full school board approval,
Okay,
okay? So all of these are just within inside of special education. And the first one is, basically they want to transfer $13,000 in total, and it's going to be reallocating funds to cover the cost of physical therapy and occupational therapy contracted services through to the end of June 30, 2021.
Is this going school to school, 21 to 27? What schools are we shifting it from?
So 21 is Bakey, 27 is the high school, 22 is Memorial, and 20 is preschool. So basically what they're doing is they're taking money out of Bakey
To the high school?
and taking money out of Memorial and moving it to the high school and moving it to preschool.
So 11,000 out of Bakey to high school and 2,000 out of Memorial to preschool.
Yes,
So budgets are estimates,
yes,
and these are actual needs.
yes, yes. So they figured out what their need is through the end of June, and they're trying to move based upon that need.
Okay.
Okay,
So I move to approve.
second,
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye,
okay.
it's unanimous.
Okay, the second one is, again, special education. They're moving $19,999 from another line item in preschool to Bakey. And this is going to be reallocating funds to cover the cost of RBT and BCBA contracted services through the end of June 30, 2020. For some reason, I would know what that BCBA is, and I can't seem to come up with what the acronym means. But I just know it's a special education program. And what she's doing too is she's trying to move like funds within her program. She's not trying to mix it up. So she's not taking from occupational therapy and moving it to another program.
And this was in the same school?
Yes, this is within the same school, but they're moving it from preschool to first through fifth grade services.
It's, when I click on that link, I only get the ones that we just approved. I don't get the additional ones.
yeah.
Oh, you have to go to page 2. It's
Yeah.
3 pages.
Yeah, I'm scrolling.
Oh, there's
down.
another-
I'm sorry,
Oh.
I tried to save time this time and
Yeah,
just
I'm
put it in
scrolling
one
down,
file.
seeing it.
Oh, okay. Because I did see the first one when I was looking. at
Okay,
this.
so
Yeah,
I
there
won't
it
do
is.
that next time.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll just notice.
No,
wrong.
yeah, I think I'll know next time.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
And just so you know, Maura, that I don't ask a lot of questions on special education because
Okay,
I'm not supposed to know all the nitty gritties,
okay.
okay? It's kind of like,
Specifically on special education or other?
yeah, there's
Okay.
there's like a Chinese wall between me and special education. We talk, but I don't ask them program specific stuff, so I can't really speak intelligently on it because I'm not supposed to know half the stuff that they're doing
Why are you not?
because it's confidential to the student,
Oh, okay,
okay?
gotcha.
And then, all right,
So question about that.
Go ahead.
So a lot of times when we ask for information, we're told it's confidential to the student.
yes,
But sometimes we're asking for aggregate information.
yes,
It's not student specific. That's not covered by confidentiality.
I can give you aggregated information,
Okay,
Right,
I think I'm all set with this, but I'm just making a general statement.
yes, I
correct.
just can't get you specific information.
Right.
From a board perspective, we are not allowed to have student-specific information unless it's coming to the board in our
That's right.
education role.
Yeah.
Just a general overview role, we only get cumulative data. So for example, when we see the data sets on health, we see it as total health or health by building. but you can't get into it too much deeper than that, or else you could identify which particular person is taking which health plan. You're not allowed to know that. And we look at SAT data, you can see what the overall SAT scores are, but you can't see what Susie Smith or Johnny Smith got on their SATs.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So does anybody want to make a motion on the 19,999?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so if we scroll to page 3, the last one is student transportation, $50,000. They're going to be moving money from the middle school student transportation for special education to Bakey for student transportation for special education. And the reason is to reallocate funds to cover estimated special education transportation at Bakey School. Okay.
What is our limit on line items, Matt? Isn't 50 the limit without going to the full board?
I don't think there's a limit.
I thought there was.
I thought it was 10,000.
I don't think so.
No, there's a limit. I have authority to move money within the budget without coming to this committee.
Yeah.
But 10,000, once I break into 10,000, I have to ask for permission from this committee to move money.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that's where the 10,000 comes in. Okay.
Okay, so this one is just where we're spending the money as the year is developing from special eds based upon the mix of kids that we have.
Yes,
And we need more money at Bakey than we have allocated there, and we need less money at the middle school than we have,
Yes.
allocated there.
yes,
Still special education, still transportation,
correct.
okay? Go ahead, Jim.
Was there a change in the student mix between the two schools?
I think there was a change in, okay, so the budget is built based upon the current population and where we anticipate them to occur.
Oh, I see. And then it's actually used in the next year.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, so now we're almost 18 months into
Yeah.
where we projected, okay?
So it's a
And
guess.
so some kids have moved out of the district, some kids have moved into the district.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, thank you. So I move to approve.
A second.
Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, so the vote, all in favor? Aye, unanimous?
Okay, thank you.
All right, what does that bring
Oh, I
me?
gotta bring this up on there. I gotta share this too. I should keep the share up on my screen so that the public can see it. All right. I'm gonna jump into this, Jamie, if that's
Yep.
okay.
Please do.
So Jamie asked a while back, I'm sorry, a couple weeks ago, to review what we estimated and what we actually spent on the Memorial School security entrance. And just kind of as a primer, the old entrance was near the back of the building, kind of in the V of the building. And if you were going to the building, you have to hit the buzzer. They have to unlock the door. You have to walk into the building and down the hallway. At that point, you're already in the building and they haven't vetted you out. So to improve the security, what we did is we moved the entrance to the front of the building. And so now you walk in, you're contained in this little room and you're vetted right there before you're allowed into the building.
It's much more secure, absolutely.
Being new to, I went there before and I had the same thought of what's
This
the
is-
point
yeah.
of this?
Yeah.
And now that, but I've only been there a couple times, but, so for me, it makes sense now, like I would never even know it was never like that before. So
Yes.
it seems to flow quite well.
The old
As it
word
is right
didn't make a
now.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so the $58,814 came from a CIP plan that was developed last year. Okay, the actual cost was the total was $51,364, and so we were actually below our estimate by almost $7,500. Basically, we did a lot of the work in-house, where we hired an architect to design a lot of the new features to the building. And then we installed the corridor doors. We hired a locksmith to put in the ADA access. However, that locksmith also installed a couple of specialized doors, one for the new SRO security office, and the other one for another entrance for the office up front, okay? $6,500 for a bulletproof glass. We have some privacy shades for $1,400. The front desk right there was $11,000. And then relocating some phone lines and emergency buttons. The total there was about $2,100. Now, what's not included in here, even though I have it listed for, there's AGJ construction, there's no cost there, but what happened was we had some offset claims for doing the middle school construction here, and the contractor who was doing the work here sent his guy out to cut the holes for the security window and some doors over at Memorial for us, okay?
Mhm.
Otherwise, it would have come in at 58,000.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'd just like to say for the record that I think the original estimate on this was 120,000 or
It was.
150,000.
It was in that range.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and through a lot of back and forth and redesign work by Tom and Matt, they got it down to the 58,814 that actually went into the CIP plan, so.
it was Tom and Ryan.
Tom and Ryan?
Yeah,
Okay.
Tom and Ryan, I just executed their plan.
Okay,
It was also
so-
sooner than originally anticipated. We were originally putting this off until this coming year.
Yeah,
That's right,
So we did it earlier and at a substantial discount, less than half of the original estimates.
yeah.
so good
Yeah.
job.
So last summer was just amazingly busy.
What's the CIP plan?
Capital improvement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay,
All right, very good. That is good news. As Maura had indicated, the new setup is much better than the old setup was in terms of security. Just makes more sense from a logistics flow.
the only thing that's missing out there is parking spaces. And so in that memorial parking plan, it includes adding some additional parking spaces out front. Just so you
Yeah,
know.
I don't know what the rules are there, because like at Bakey, everybody just parks in a circle if you're going in to get your kids.
Yeah,
I don't really know if that's kosher over there, but if you go to the side, if you don't go to the circle, like I have a Suburban, so it's kind of
yeah,
to make that turn when you're pulling out, it's kind of tight
yeah.
over
So
there.
we'd be doing more signage. If we rip up the parking lot, we're also gonna do signage so that it's easier to understand.
No Suburbans allowed.
Yeah, I'll park in the circle, I just
Compact
don't,
vehicles.
I don't know if anyone's gonna look down on me for parking on the circle.
Okay,
The parking in Memorial, people line up on West Main Street,
oh,
and then they take that right onto the crossroad,
yes,
and then they go in the side entrance.
yes.
I don't really see people parking in that bus turnaround at all in the front there.
No, we don't have enough,
Well,
think
I
there's
mean,
room
I
for the
guess I
buses.
mean like during the day, if I have to go there during the
Oh,
day.
when the buses aren't running.
Yeah, when the buses aren't, yeah.
Generally speaking, nobody parks in that circle. They all come in the other door. Well, they all park. on the
Even
other
now,
side, Yeah.
like if
You don't come in the
were-
other door, but you park over on that.
and you walk
side.
all the way over?
Well, there's
Well, I think
two,
the
there's two
entrance-
ones.
Yeah,
There's one that's right by the walkway to the old entrance.
Hmm,
There's some parking there.
Yeah.
And then there's parking, your back's behind it, so it's to the, if your circle's here,
yeah,
there's parking over here. People
Yes.
park there and just walk through the
Oh,
circle into the door.
okay, I just parked to the left of the building.
but the entrance now is around the side too. It's not in
No.
the front anymore.
it's in the front.
It's in the front,
It's
not
now
the
in
side.
the very
It's in the
front of the
Oh,
building.
okay.
You gotta just,
Yeah,
it was a side, it's now the front.
Oh, I see.
okay. So,
All right, that is good. On the audit areas, I think I know the answers on these, but,
I put the answers next to each of them.
yeah, and that's my understanding. So just for people that are watching, we had intended to do a full special education audit this year. And given the COVID realities, that's not going to happen as anticipated. So that's one that was intended, but is not happening as anticipated. Jim?
I understand that there are aspects of that audit that are probably difficult to do because some students were remote, but the school was open since October. And besides that, there are other aspects that we've been hearing about at the school board, where there's disruption in classes. There's a lot of issues with the special ed. That sort of audit, I would think, would be able to be done. I don't know why we have to put the whole thing off until September.
Well,
It seems to me parts of it could be done now.
I think it's probably best to have that discussion with Tom.
Okay,
Okay,
yep. Okay, I will.
okay.
I got his number on the ski slopes. We could call him right now.
Better warm them up, right?
I recommend that you don't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop you.
So I think that's a fair point, Jim, and we should follow up on him. I got on some of my questions that I have on the end of this, on the manifest are also Tom questions and not my questions.
Okay,
And I have to apologize too. A lot of these audit areas don't fall under me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just kind of have to ask and listen.
yep.
So what's the information you get on the athletics?
I have no update for this meeting.
Okay. So what I think we should do, Jim and Maura, is just have a sit down. I'll give Tom a call and say, you know, we need to come clean with the, I mean, the budget committee, there's commitments made to them also. There's commitments made to the school board. There's commitments made to the finance subcommittee for not going to achieve those. Then what subset of achievement can we at least get after? And is that possible this year, still within June 30 or not?
And really, what I think there is there's the amount of work that we're putting in right now is like twice what we normally do. So I certainly don't have time to do a lot of extra stuff because it's just amazing how much COVID has just consumed all of our time.
But we have a special ed director and an athletic director and an IT director.
Yes.
I wouldn't expect this would be something you would be doing anyway.
No, well, let's just talk about athletics really quickly.
Okay,
I know that they're operating completely differently than they ever have in the past, okay? So the time that they're spending now trying to do even a reduced number of games is still significant.
the other thing is that these people work on a salary basis through the year.
Yes, that's
And
true.
all that's gonna go away in a few weeks. All that, you know, the day-to-day stuff of
Yes.
organizing sports and all of that.
Yeah,
Um,
so it's a summer project.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a follow-up note on that.
Okay.
I can report out the next meeting. So how about stepping us through the trust funds, Matt?
Sure. Bringing it up to the screen here. Let me see if I can get it bigger. Okay, so the first one is Special Education Expendable Trust. Year to date, we've received $157 of interest. Our ending balance as of March 31st is $241,181. Now, for more, the funds, this is like in the budget committee, you put money in here, but it can only be used for special education purposes.
Okay.
Do you want me to explain each one of them?
No, I think this is what I was thinking about earlier tonight.
Yeah.
It was these funds here, so.
Yeah, when you was talking about the different accounts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what I was thinking about, so.
The second one is the Capital Improvement and Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund. We put in $50,000 this year. We received $120 in interest. The ending balance as of the end of March is $223,043.
So, okay, so does this include the 50 that was approved by warrant
Yes,
at the
Yes.
polls?
yes,
Sorry, Ian.
Okay, that is that 50,
yes.
okay.
But that's not this March's meeting. That's going to be done in July.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's for
Okay.
next fiscal year. Starting July 1st.
Oh, okay, just like the budget.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. So this was March of 2020.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the next one is the unanticipated educational expenses. Oh, let me just kind of give you a little bit of like government moves at a glacial pace. And then that will explain why it just seems like you're off a year. Okay, so the next one is unanticipated educational expenditures, capital reserve fund. We've received almost $60 in interest. We have transferred in $75,000. And then the ending balance for this fund is $150,204. The next one is the facility use revolving fund. This is where the rental, this is for Moore's purpose. This is where the rental for the old middle school goes into this fund, and it can only be used for certain things, such as let's see, custodians, maintenance, and technology costs. And then there was one other that was, or a few others that were added, I think grounds.
No, why is that? Why can the rent only be used towards these particular items and not get put into like the general fund or whatnot, like a regular tax base? Is that just how it was agreed upon when we
Yes,
agreed to do the rent, that that's what was gonna happen?
so back in 2007,
Mhm.
the district meeting, the taxpayers voted to restrict rental income to be used for those particular reasons.
Okay,
I can't,
did they perceive that something like this was gonna happen, or?
actually, at one point, that fund was higher because they used to rent out the seminary building.
No. Oh, that's right, yeah, because they had the charter
Charter,
school,
yeah.
yeah, okay,
Plus, we rented the auditorium, we would rent the gym,
Yes,
the tracks.
and
okay,
that all goes in here. And so
Okay.
like when you
all
rent the
right, so yeah,
gym.
so it really has nothing to do with the middle school, that's
right.
not, what, okay.
Well, it kind of does have to do with the middle school.
But they didn't,
That's
this
what's only
wasn't,
coming in
this
now.
wasn't, right, this wasn't set up because of the middle
That's
school, it
right,
was
that's
something that
correct.
was already happening, okay.
But where the revenue goes, my hands are tied because of that vote back in 2007.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm,
Also, this rent is monthly, it's not like just during the school season.
That's right.
Correct.
So they pay $11,666 every single month. And so far to date, through the end of March, they paid $105,333. Okay. And that also includes the rental of any of our facilities. Okay. And there's only 2 other rentals that have occurred. And it was the town of Kingston who rented our parking lot for movie night. Okay. We've used the money, $46,916 for replacement equipment and $18,921 for accounting software.
I'm sorry, my daughter keeps calling.
The replacement equipment is the microphones, the 14168 that you covered in the business administration in March in your comments. So the March number is 2 charges. One's 14168, that's the microphones.
Yes.
What's the 2625?
I had written that down. Let's see. Oh, I know I reported that out in the last month's meeting. Let me see if I can look at the agenda for last month. Here,
But this wouldn't have been available last month's meeting, right? Because this is as of end of March. And this is a current expense.
no, but I think it was paid out before that. I had written that up somewhere. Where the heck is it?
Yeah, because to me, the month to date, that should be only spending that happened in March, not something that happened prior to March.
No, the 14,000 was month to date, but then the other one was prior to March. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but this is a March expenditure column,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Otherwise it'd be in the year-to-date column.
Yeah.
Just get back to me on that if you will.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna put a comment in here.
So why don't we just jump down to the budget report? You've already given us some top line information on that in your business report. But I'll have some further questions on that as we get into them.
Sure. Okay,
So we start with the health.
yeah,
So it looks like presently the health is at 612,215.23 unencumbered as of this period of time. So I just want to validate, what that means is, under encumbrances of 1,508,827.32, that includes our anticipated spending for the balance through June 30th for everybody's current
well,
coverage of premiums.
the encumbrance was made in July of last year, okay? So if someone changed from a two-person plan to a family plan, it does not include that.
Correct. So the marker, if you will, as to what their plan was is July, it's not now.
Right,
So what we anticipated in July, we set as encumbrances for the whole year.
yes,
And there's a remaining 612,000 on that, which I think you said before is 12.46%.
yes,
So that amount right now, as we sit here, as best we know, is going to be pretty solid unexpended funds by the end of the year, because the adjustments that we're likely to see aren't going to consume $612,000 in the next.
well, unless you
months.
vote on something, so,
Right.
yeah.
In and of
exactly.
itself,
Yes,
that's going to end up being unexpended. Most of that is going to end up being unexpended funds
yes,
for fiscal year 2021.
yes,
And that's the amount you're reporting on in your business administrator comment.
yes,
Yeah. He said that's 12.46% remaining,
yes,
and that ties into these numbers.
right. And just to kind of let you know too, I've tightened up the estimate for next year. So the amount, like if we're, this time next year, the amount remaining should be significantly lower.
Now, it was lower this year because we got a lower cap from the insurance company, right?
We also reduced in the budget process the amount of money that we allocate for increases in healthcare. So we had been allocating, I think, 10% a year.
Yeah, that's
And
what I'm
this
talking
year, we
about.
reduced it down to about 6.75 or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
Because we're not coming in anywhere near 10% a year, so we tightened that down in the budget.
Yeah, we will be in trouble if it does jump up over that.
Right.
So, but we
So-
haven't seen that kind of rate.
Does this not then have, I thought a lot of the health insurance had to do with teachers just not opting to do that. So is that not really what,
Okay,
what this is?
this
relates to?
includes, okay, if a teacher doesn't opt, teacher opts out of health insurance,
Yeah,
we pay them an amount of money,
yeah,
okay, as an incentive to not be on our insurance because it's cheaper. I think the amount is like $3,000, okay? So the numbers here include that.
but, and I just thought those numbers could be way off because you just never know if a teacher's gonna take it or not.
We know back in July, pretty much what the teachers are gonna be doing,
Oh,
but if they change their mind,
Right.
our budgeting doesn't include that.
but we've already budgeted it in March, the budget's already been passed.
Yes, and so that budget is basically what he was saying is, I have an idea based upon current employees,
Yeah,
what their usage is gonna be. And then if we know, if we learn that some of them are gonna have children that we know about, we can bump them up to a family plan. And then we also put in an increase factor, and he was saying 6.75%. I don't remember the exact percentage, but I think it's very close to
It's
that.
in
number.
that area.
Yeah,
okay,
So
So-
historically, when we do budget transfer, line item transfers in this committee, it's very often coming out of health.
yeah,
okay,
And one of the reasons is because we have historically said we need at least 10% increase on an annualized basis. When we do the budget, we say, what was last year's spending or last year's budget? Bump that by 10%.
mhm,
And we're not experiencing anything like a 10% increase on an annualized basis.
yeah,
And that leads to the unexpended at the end of the year.
yeah,
That's the main driver. These other things that you're pointing out also
Yeah.
contribute to it, but the main
But that's
driver is
not-
what we're putting in from the budget perspective.
yeah.
okay,
And part of my problem is our insurance company does give me a guaranteed maximum rate every year. But the budget, I don't know that number until after the budget is into the budget committee. You know, it's so far late that we can't steer it anywhere else.
right.
So,
Matt, is that a custom number or does each school get the same number,
For what?
that maximum increase?
Yeah,
It comes- 'cause it's
each-
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it's custom for each school district.
Okay,
Okay, and so basically they look at the pool, they look at who is consuming the resources of the pool. And so, yeah, you're gonna have a base rate, and then they're also adjusting that based upon the experience of that individual district.
oh, that's interesting, because I was wondering, with this pool coverage, if there was any sort of counterbalancing if one school is using a lot more money than another school.
Well, there is a little bit of that,
Yeah,
but then the one who is consuming most of the funds is also paying most of the funds.
okay. So that is a part of it as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
and workers' comp works like that, unemployment works like that, so.
Any other questions on health? So if you could bring up for the people that are watching at home, when we post this thing, they're not watching at home now. On the non-health, looking at it in the same fashion, we have about $2,010,000 in unencumbered at this point in time. As we see here at the end of April, this is end of March data set, correct?
This is the general operating budget.
General operating. This one's not as bankable as a 600,000, if you will, because there's other expenditures that can happen in here. We just talked about, well, if we have to spend the $19,000 on a roof, that would be coming out of here. That's not expended. We have leaks that we have to pay for that aren't encumbered yet. So there's more things that would come out of here, but we're still doing fairly well in terms of coverage. Now, Matt, when we get the grants in, are those expenditures that they are reimbursing included in these
It depends.
encumbrances or no?
It depends. So, let me just speak about some grants, specific grants, okay? So like special education is not included in this. So the federal entitlement for special education is put into a special revenue fund. And in that, the revenues and expenditures can be spent, you're really spending outside of the appropriation, but it's within the grant period that's authorized by the federal government.
So it's like its own bank account.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, now, with the COVID grants that, the reimbursement of some of those costs, initially I paid for a lot of those items out of the general fund, and we're pulling those out of the general fund and moving them to the special revenue fund and matching up the revenue in the special revenue fund, okay? So, so it's a combination.
So theoretically, if I'm understanding correct, that's why I'm asking it this way. If you had pulled nothing yet, 100% of all the expenditures are in there, which like you just said is not the case, but if it was,
Yes.
then I would expect that for the most recent, for example, the 466,000 grant that we just approved at the last meeting,
Yes.
when you pull them out for that, that would actually increase your unencumbered by 466,000. Because it's still all unencumbered and it's being paid
Yes.
for now by the grant.
Yes, that's right.
All right, so I just want to make sure I was
So,
understanding that
I
properly.
can give you a good example of that.
Yeah.
So we had 5 days of teacher training, and when we actually did it, we didn't know what kind of federal funds were going to come in for it. So it was paid for out of the general fund appropriation. So recently we moved $360,000 worth of expenditures out of the general fund to the special revenue fund because it was paid for by federal funds.
Jim?
So I know I think it was a school board meeting recently, when you were talking about a big grant that we approved.
Yeah, that's at 466.
Yes.
Right, that you got.
Yeah.
You said that some of these grants came with specific languages and requirements as to how they were spent.
Yes.
Now, the reimbursement ones are reimbursing for specific requirements,
Yes.
but are the reimbursements themselves also defined in terms of categories that you can expend them on?
Yes, yeah, all the federal grants are very specific in what you can spend the money on.
Even
Okay,
if it's a reimbursement for money that's already been spent?
that's correct. And they give you, number one, they give you a timeline of, within these dates, you can request reimbursement for. And then they also give you a list of what you can request reimbursement for. They also give you a list of examples of things that you can't request, like you can't request alcohol, reimbursement for alcohol, okay?
You're talking about drinking alcohol,
Yes, that's right,
right?
yeah. So,
Not medicinal.
in the grants that I've got in the past that reimbursed us, these were for purchasing items that were directly related to opening the school for under COVID, okay? Such as we bought 2 pallets of wipes. We bought a whole bunch of masks for the students to use. Those were all directly related to opening the schools, and it fell within the definition of the allowable costs.
Okay, that part I get.
Yeah.
But once you have the money and those things are paid for, if you have other areas that you'd like to spend that money on, is that allowable?
The federal money?
Any grant money that's not, I'm sorry, not any grant money, any reimbursement money.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is it freed up the general fund appropriation.
Right.
Okay, so we could still spend, like, for example, let's talk about the teacher training. We could still spend, do 5 days worth of teacher training, and it's within the authority of the appropriation. Or we could, we'd come to this committee or the school board and reassign those funds for a different purpose.
So you
Or
could
do
use it for
nothing.
paving.
Or, yes, we could use it for paving.
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
Or you don't have to use it at all.
Or we could use it for the Bakey Boiler.
Or you don't have to use it at all.
Or you don't have to use it at all.
Okay.
so I think what I'd like to see, Matt, if you could pull this together for us, and I think it'll answer your question, Jim. So you were keeping track of, and I think you made a comment that we've covered basically all but 8,000 or something of COVID spending. But if we could see, this is what we spent in
Yeah.
fiscal year 2020 on COVID.
Yeah.
This is how much of that COVID spending is included in these documents as to expended or encumbered. And this is the amount of grants that we have.
Okay,
And then that would tell us exactly what we have to play with going forward.
okay. I would give you a reimbursement request, and I know I've given it to you guys before, and it tells you, it lists out what the general categories that we spent the funds on. All those monies came out of the general fund. Okay?
And so they'd be incorporated in this.
No, the revenue is not coming in here, so they're not recorded into that number.
But all of those things that you applied to be reimbursed for came out of the general fund.
Yes, initially.
Right, but so the total expenses for those things that we've already paid the bills on, as opposed to just encumbered, those expenses would be included in my total expenses here, would they not?
No, they're not.
They're not. So some of those have been pulled out.
Yeah, I'm doing a journal entry, moving it for the general fund to the special revenue. fund.
Okay. And so, and you said part of it has been done.
Yes.
So that's what I was saying. So if we had, here's what we spent,
Oh,
here's how much is still in this,
yeah, no, it's not.
and then here's how much is left,
It's
here's
not-
what the grant is.
It's not really enough to make it change the numbers much. Okay. Most of, the entries have been done, okay? What's not been done is we've got an additional $441,000, and we haven't identified what we want to assign to that particular grant. So I have about $10,000 worth of additional costs that I haven't assigned to a grant that's allowable to be assigned to the grant. What I recommended to the school board, I believe, at the last meeting was to spend the funds on lost learning opportunities.
Right, but I'm still not getting the numbers, so let me ask separately. So we had, just to make up numbers, of our total 28 million in spend that's non-health, we spent $1 million
Yeah,
on COVID.
yes,
Cash out, we spent $1 million. we got in from the federal government in grants, 1.1 million, including the 466,000 that was just on the last school board meeting.
Yeah,
So theoretically, then I have $100,000 left to spend on COVID-related allowed grant spending, using my examples.
yeah,
What I'm trying to understand is, of the 1 million that we spent, that was in this, you're saying all that 1 million but 10,000 is already not reflected in this
Yes.
expense present.
yes,
So then if that's the case, then I'd still like to see what that COVID spending is, where did it go? What were the types of spending?
yeah, I'll pull that up.
But it's not in here. There's no material
Yeah.
difference, you're saying. It's about 10 grand, but everything else, absent the grants, my unencumbered here would be $1 million less.
Yes, that's right.
It starts on here, and then once you get the grant, then it comes back out.
Yes, it
Right.
goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Okay.
I don't know, I don't want,
I
I just want to
think
leave the explanation right there, because if I started getting into geeky accounting, I will lose you guys. You guys are doing fine.
But okay, but I generally understand. So then if we could just get, for the next meeting, this is what it was spent on. It was masks, it was PPE, it was
Yeah.
whatever it
That's-
was.
Yeah,
That'd be helpful.
that's easy.
Okay.
Let me put a little comment in here.
Jim, other questions on this?
No, but the next one is revenues. Now, do these grants show up in the revenues?
Wait a minute. Okay, the revenues, here, let me bring it up. The revenues that are reported here are only the revenues of the general fund. So those COVID-related grants are not here, because they would be reported in Fund 22, which is the grant fund, which is a special revenue fund. So the idea of this particular report is, and really, this is like how you're practicing accounting, okay? What I have to understand what it is that this committee is interested in, which they're primarily interested in, and where the tax dollars are going, okay? And that the federal dollars are kind of like a cart following a horse, okay? And that those kind of dollars go into a separate fund and are reported elsewhere, okay? So this is just the general fund.
So we're already 5 minutes long here. I was gonna jump, Matt, if you will, to the reorganization spreadsheet. And we'll table some of these other items for the next meeting. But I do want to get that out and into the public view. If you can bring that up on your screen.
Reorganization?
Yeah, the reorganization costs, because that's been something that's come up a number of times. It came up in the budget committee presentation to the public last year at the budget time. Questions are asked during the school board presentation as to where did we really end up as regards what we anticipated spending and what we really spent in terms of the reorganization.
Okay.
And I think that this is the completed answer, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the superintendent in his April 3rd, 2019 presentation, he gave costs. This is a reorganization of the middle school coming to the high school. It does not include the elementary schools going to each other. Really, there weren't that many costs associated with that other than moving. So I've listed out by the major categories of what was in that presentation. Actually, the amount that was presented in that presentation was $720,587 would be the cost to move the middle school here to the high school. We spent $639,187. And so we were under what Tom's proposal by $112,507. Okay. Notables. Let me go to the top here. So let's see, the middle school bathrooms, the locker room, changing rooms, and the middle school classrooms. We were, let's see, the bathrooms are 197,000. The locker rooms, we anticipated 212,000, and the middle school classrooms 14,000. Let's see. I know we saved a lot of money on the locker rooms because we didn't we didn't build out full locker rooms. We used the team rooms as locker rooms. Let's see.
I mean, absent that, that was a great, I think that was Brian that came up with that.
That's
And
correct.
Absent that, we would have missed the mark by about 50 grand in
Yes.
terms of overspending, but because of that adjustment that we're able to do, we actually came in under by about 112.
Right.
So that's still, in the end game, it's still less by 112,000 than was anticipated.
Yeah, so the bathrooms, the locker rooms, and the middle school classrooms came under budget by 164,000. The middle school office came slightly, well, not slightly, came over budget, or what we thought was we were going to spend by $42,000. And then moving fees were over what we thought we were going to spend by $9,181. The intercom was way more expensive. That was $26,000 more than what we anticipated.
But you did a lot of additional things beyond the original
Yeah, a lot of
proposal too.
things came out of the woodwork, basically. But overall, we were under what we anticipated. Yeah, under what we expected by 112,000.
Right. So I just wanted to make sure that we had that captured and it's documented and
Yeah.
it's available for the public, because that question came up many times.
Now, if you want, we can cover all the items that are on the agenda, because I don't have anything after this, other than drive home and see my family.
Jim, it's up to you and Mara.
That's fine. How much long, I mean, I do have to be back here for BudCom, so
What time is BudCom?
7.
Oh,
It
we were
doesn't
being
start till
at
7,
7.
but I would like to, get home before I come back, that's all.
Only if you're gonna drive that really cool car back and forth that you have in front. I don't wanna see that on the road. Why don't we quickly hit these, Matt?
Okay, so the first one is the software usage report.
Yep.
And let's see, in the past, you've asked about vocabulary, you've asked about brain pop just recently.
Yep.
And what I did for brain pop was I was able to get a hold of the person who actually managed the data. And if you click on that usage report, what it is they gave me by login the usage for each month and each each year. Okay. And let's see, I put the usage somewhere.
It was on one of those sheets.
Yeah, 4,296 logins for just this school year for brain pop.
My daughter used that a lot during, I don't know if she's still, but that was a very big part of the beginning of the school year.
And that's the kind of information that I want to be able to see, is
Yeah.
what, are we getting proper usage of what we're spending subscription dollars?
Now, I don't know long-term, then if it's necessary, but I think for the remote learning, it was good because it would teach, I think it would teach a little lesson or something. And there's only so much a teacher can of a lesson, and Brain Pop has they're more prepared for it. They have whatever graphics or whatnot. So it was a nice way to teach the kids versus having a teacher be like, okay, class, okay, I gotta fix my microphone and all this. So it was nice. I don't know what the long-term use of the intention is, but I can say for remote learning, it was nice, I thought.
Okay, good. All right. No, I don't need
We had a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
I don't have it in front of me right now because I just lost my connection, but one of these reports showed, it looked like seasonal usage almost. Like in one case, there were 4 users during a time frame, and then it went down to 3, then it went down to 2, then it went down to 1. And it was consistent for both 2021 and 1920. But is that 4? Does that mean 4? The explanation was 4 users. Does that mean 4 classes, or what does that mean?
I take it
Or
as
one class,
logins.
1 login, 4 logins?
Yeah, that's what I was taking them as. But what I found out, especially with vocabulary, the account wasn't set up properly, that some of the logins weren't captured in the data analytics. So, when you're seeing information being, looking like it's seasonal, it was not set up right.
So these reports are,
Brain Pop is pretty good. I feel good about Brain Pop. I'm not,
There are two different.
I have three,
I don't
yeah,
See one for, I just see brain pop.
oh, you do?
Yeah, if you, on
Do I need to?
that file, if
This,
you go into the link on software usage report, there's 3 line items to link. Each one has a report link inside of it.
Oh.
You see this? When I hit the link.
Oh,
That's like
okay,
that.
yeah, okay, I have to go back one. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I see.
And then the actual file that you sent me, Matt, that's the one I was looking for, so I can start playing around with that. So
yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah.
so on the one that I requested, Matt, I see the paid versions, but I don't see any of the free versions.
Okay, so, that's a different item. Let's see. I'm gonna jump to that. So, really, these are the different plans here. So there's one for $10 a month, so it wasn't free, okay? And the light version, the thing about that one is it didn't have, the dashboard to track student performance.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
So-
stuff it didn't have.
I mean, you can throw the kids on the software, but you just don't know what they're doing.
And one of them says contact for a quote, the other one says custom pricing, but nothing about the dollars.
Yeah, so basically, we just have a quote or custom pricing is really, they're custom, okay, based upon our size and our usage.
And is that year to year?
Yes,
So you have that information. You just.
I only have that information when it comes to me as an invoice. I'm not the person who, okay, because I'm on the operations side, I'm not on the education side. I wouldn't know exactly why they're using this for educational purposes.
So what I plan on doing, Jim, is that spreadsheet that's attached,
Yeah.
it's got them all listed,
Okay,
and it's got no money next to any of them.
yeah,
I'm gonna go back to the manifests.
okay.
And wherever I see something that's on the manifest that's not on the list, I'm gonna say this needs to be on the list. And
That's right.
wherever there is monies associated with these, I'm gonna put the monies in, so that we actually know what we're spending.
Okay,
And to me, that was part of the audit that was going on.
right,
Yeah,
Since we don't have time to do the audit, I'll do it.
okay.
yeah. Well,
So
I,
is this like going back in relation to, and I'm not sure where all this is stemming to, because we do have so many different softwares.
Right,
And have you just zeroed in on this vocabulary?
No, that's just the one that came up in the
That was
question
the
on the
one that came up,
manifest. There's
because-
nothing specific as to why that one we have data on.
Okay, yeah, because I know throughout, my kids have, I could probably name off 5 other softwares, and I don't know enough about what makes them good or, so I didn't know if a goal was to try to streamline them or if they're all totally
Well,
separate,
Just
or I don't
understand what
know.
they are and what we're
Yeah.
spending.
yeah.
So if in fact we're spending a lot of money on the subscription and then we get the usage information and nobody's actually using it,
Yeah, right,
because it just happens to be somebody's pet thing that one person liked, but nobody's really using it,
right.
then we should know that as a district and make a
Yeah.
determination about it.
So the goal isn't necessarily to streamline it, it's to have proof that, yes, these are being used.
Yes,
What we're
As
signing
long
up for and how
as
we're
long as
using
we're
it.
having usage for them, that's okay.
yeah,
Well, it depends on what the usage is. If you're
Right.
spending $50,000 and you have one sign in a month, that's probably not
Right.
a,
Right,
They
yeah,
could use
if
some
you have
money.
the usage to justify it. then
well, I
that's-
also want to see what are the programs. So in
Yeah.
some of my manifest questions, we're spending money on programs that aren't particularly associated with math, reading, or education. They're associated with fix the world, and we're going to make the whole world a better place for everybody.
Mhm,
Like, we can fix the world after we get our kids proficient in math and English.
right.
Right now, we need to be focused on math
And
and
that's-
English.
The kind of thing that I'm not sure about with some of these yeah.
I don't either.
Right,
That's why I want to see what
Yeah.
we're spending money on.
yeah.
So some of the ones in the manifest
And
questions
so
that I had.
can we find out what they're for?
that's what we're
Yeah.
trying to
I mean,
do.
yeah, that's
So
in
we
that
don't want to
spreadsheet.
just know who's signing in, we want to know what the programs teach.
Yes,
So I'm going to Google them.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
for example, one of my questions on the manifest was Aurora Institute. And what they're going to do is they're going to transform education. I don't know if I want to transform education. I want to teach people math and English. we're 20% and 56% proficient. I'd rather focus on getting our kids proficient than transforming education.
Whatever that means.
Correct. So
Well,
to me, it means, well, we want to get away from traditional and look at all these other things. Well, we're not succeeding right now in teaching math and English. Let's focus on math and English, not on other things.
To give you another example, several years ago, a school board member asked about a software package called Gizmos, what we were spending $25,000 a year for. And it turned out nobody was using it, but they've been renewing it year after year after year.
Right.
So,
yeah. So a couple of years ago, the budget was built, and then it was like $600,000 for online software. And then we had 2 default budgets that carried that over, and we had whittled it down, but since we were stuck in the default budgets, we couldn't reduce the operating budget to match what we were actually spending, which brought more oversight to that particular line, okay? Now, there's now a process where if we have a need, it goes to the curriculum director, and she has to determine whether to allow it or not allow it. If she allows it, it goes on this list, okay? And if Jamie finds an invoice that I paid an online software that's not on this list, then I haven't done my job, okay? And so far, I don't think you'll find one.
No, and I think what I really want to know is, and been asking for is, what's the usage? You know, what
Yeah.
is it that we're buying?
at what cost?
At what cost?
Yeah.
And what usage?
And
Like this Gizmo thing. I mean, that'd be ridiculous. Of course you could say
Not
that.
for nothing, though, I'm almost more concerned about what you're just saying about transforming education and what
Yeah.
we teach, like, that almost concerns me more, because I've only seen things at a elementary school age level where it's a much more cut and dry than I'm sure when you get into middle school and high school, so I have no idea what these online things are that,
yeah,
Well, that's what part of the audit is.
yeah.
but you have to be careful, when he's looking at the website, you have to be careful about what that website says. You have to kind of come back to us and say, okay, this is what the website says, what are you using the information for? And we can provide you with a better explanation of what it is. So it's not necessarily that we're trying to transform education.
Right.
They just have a segment of information that we find useful in
Right.
order to accomplish the goals of the school board to improve education.
Could we come back and say, oh, can we get like a dummy username or something and go into, Susie's classroom and find out what she's having the kids
Yeah,
do?
for Brain Pop, I can do that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't let you guys have it. Okay, I don't like having the passwords because I don't want to know what the kids are doing. Because it's actually in more granular detail where I can see the students' names and how they're progressing.
Mhm.
And that's information I don't want to have access to.
Right, oh, yeah, I don't mean at all from that level, I just mean,
Yeah.
we could we go in and see the lesson ourselves
Yeah.
or
Well,
something?
when kids go in and use this, they can't see that information about
No,
other
but-
kids, so there
But
must
the
be a way to.
administrator can,
Yeah, I'm not looking for an administrative password, I'm just,
yeah.
can we become a fake student and go in and see what the
I think we
teachers-
can eventually get there, but
Yeah.
right now it's just, what is it that we're spending the money on and what
Yeah.
are we using for? So
So
for
we have no
example,
idea, and we've been.
Tom is talking about $80,000 for books that he's looking for. So to me, it begs a question, and I've asked him the question, what books? So you don't just, in my mind, you don't get $80,000 and go, well, what's on sale? You say, I want $80,000 of books because I believe as part of the educational process in this district, we should really make this list of books available and we want to go out and buy this list of books.
Right.
What is that list of books? So one of the questions I had in the manifest was a book that I wanted. I
Yeah.
looked at the title and I said, this raises questions for me. I'd like to see the book. And that's got a link of it in the manifest. So
Yeah,
my question to Tom is the intent that we're going to buy a lot of these books? Because if we are, again, I have a problem with books where we're going to teach children to be disruptive. That's not in my mind what we should be doing as a district. Did we buy the books, because what's $20? Did we buy the book simply because, well, what is this? Well, okay, fine. But where's the 80,000 going to go?
Right,
So I mean, to me, those are all what we have to understand, and that's what's being looked at for these subscriptions. What exactly we're subscribing to and how we're using it. And what are we paying?
So I just want to kind of move on to the next item,
Yep.
which Jamie was asking for was a list of online software products. So I took a copy of the actual spreadsheet. It's actually a living document, so I didn't give you the one that is live.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so basically it shows where the location, where it's being charged, the vendor's name, the product. Let's see if I can move over to the right. Gordon's gone through and looked at some of the information, who's in charge of it. So for me to try to get some of the usage stuff, what I'm finding out is some of the websites don't track usage in a way that Jamie's looking for.
They're not willing to share is how I would phrase it, because there's no online service provider in the world that does not track the clicks. It's just, I just don't believe it.
And then for me, like Brain Pop, it was just like all of a sudden I found out who was running it, and I was able to zero in on that person, and they gave me that list, and that happened yesterday. Okay, so I'm
So
trying
we should have
to,
an expense column with all of these as well.
yes, so
And
I'm,
then a description column.
yes. So I'm trying to populate that list of usage based upon this spreadsheet.
Yep.
And it's hard.
And so when you asked about vocabulary is just the first one we got data on.
Yeah.
There was nothing specific
Okay.
about targeting that one. It was just the first one we had data on.
Right.
Boy, that's a lot of software.
There, 132 lines. And, you know, the question becomes it's an educational program from K to 12. Don't we already have a curriculum that we're using? This is supplemental, is what we picked not good enough? Why do we need 3 or 4 of them that provide that?
And how
And
many?
I just don't know the answers to those
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
Well, and I can understand too, like I said, I mean, I've seen just 5 or 6 different programs for my kids. I don't know if you can streamline it more, because and from a parent's point of view, every year you have to get used to a new software from the teacher, and then do the kids have to relearn this? I forget what the heck I had one kid who I forget, Seesaw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to imagine what a time suck it is for the teacher. My daughter has these little 3-second videos, and she'd be get like 10 a day, and the teacher has to go in and approve it.
Yeah.
I just have to wonder how much work
Well,
it is for the teacher.
It's work up front, but then you can, from what I understand, you can repeat it the next year.
But she has to go in and approve all of my daughter's documents for me to
Oh.
see it.
Yes.
I just think on a
Times how
daily
many kids?
basis,
Well,
I
For
just-
each kid, she has to do that?
yeah, like, so if my daughter, she'd pick up her iPad and she would count blocks. And she records it, like I'm talking a 3-second video. And she would do that over and over and over in the same day.
Mhm.
So the teacher would have to go back and she would have to approve all of those, so for me to see it. So my point is, the teachers approved 10 for my daughter, now multiply that times 18, so she's proving, I would
Yeah.
just think
How
it's
much
just
time is
one
left
more
over
thing
for
for a
instruction,
teacher to
right?
do,
Yeah.
that's all.
remote instruction has been
And this
hard.
wasn't remote, this was like 3 years ago, and I just,
Oh,
this
okay.
poor,
And Seesaw kind of stinks as a.
I
as
don't,
a program.
Right.
I mean, it was nice and pretty, like it kept me, I suppose, more in touch, but I just was like, I don't think this is worth it. I'm watching my daughter go 1, 2, 3.
So the
Over and over
questions
and
that
over
you're
again.
asking is why we've asked these questions
Okay.
in the past and start looking at, well, what exactly are we doing? And the intent was, when we talked about the 3 audit areas, the intent was this was gonna be part of the IT. audit.
Okay,
We
that's,
just haven't
and
got to
I've
it.
heard about this software, so that's why I'm kind of wondering, is that where we're going at? Because, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know enough about all these softwares, but it seems to me like there's a lot of different softwares out there. Can we streamline them more?
There seems to be, and of course, it could be completely incorrect, because I just don't know what I don't know. But there's a lot of line items here. What are we really getting for value out of them?
Mhm.
And what are we spending for?
Okay. Can I move
Okay.
on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I didn't do the updated final spending spreadsheet because my accounting software, and I sent you an example. Then the old accounting software, which is ending this June, when I ran the report historically, it gave me all zeros for encumbrances, so it wasn't accurate. and it just,
Why don't we, it's 6:00, Maura's got another meeting at 7 and she needs to eat.
yeah, okay.
No, I mean, this is just gonna be.
Well, the other ones are
10 minutes,
the
I'm fine.
manifest questions, we can just, there's no big deal of,
You can just read them.
well, yeah, we can read them and send questions to Matt directly, not to all of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we can talk about those questions in the next meeting. We've already done the reorganization spreadsheet. The student cash reconciliation is simply, they know what happened and they'll report out to us next
Yeah,
meeting.
and she actually sent me the reconciliation this morning,
Okay,
so she's got it all figured out,
all right, perfect.
okay?
And then we can talk about, again, there's nothing critical there, it's a $500 line item.
Yeah,
It was just something from the audit that we wanted to follow up on. And I think that should wrap it up, and then we can just talk about, we'll work on the next agenda map from there.
okay.
Jenny, you okay with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Maury, you okay with that?
I'm just looking, we spent $5,000 on masks for instruments.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they're specialized masks.
I'm sorry, it
Hey.
makes no sense to me.
It was a reimbursable cost in COVID, okay? So the federal government paid a good chunk of it.
Now we're gonna print all that.
That's
money
why I
to
asked
pay
the
for it.
questions on the manifest.
When I see the mask, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Just so that
It's still
people,
coming out the bottom.
I know that Jim and Matt are familiar with this, so more so I send questions virtually on every single manifest. I'm a bane in Matt's existence.
I wouldn't say
But
that.
these are, I copy the members of the committee for information only, but we do not respond back in that. Any discussions happen in the committee in public.
Okay.
That's just so you can see some of the questions that are being generated.
So if you ask me a question, I'm gonna stick it on to his questions and answer it in the committee.
Yeah, correct.
Although Jim asked me some specific questions and I'll answer those.
Okay.
All right, so then why don't we go ahead, I'll adjourn the meeting,
Okay.
and Maura, that gives you some breathing room in between meetings. And
Okay.
we're already a half hour late, so I appreciate people staying over,
Yeah,
and Matt, I
no
appreciate
problem.
you staying over also.
Thanks for calling the meeting.
Thank you.
We were getting behind.
We were,
Okay,
and there's just a lot to do, and we got the end of the year coming up, and there's gonna be an awful lot in there, so I don't want to have all these past due things
Okay.
blocking us going forward.
okay, I'm gonna stop it.
All right, thank you.
Okay.